This is the Phenomenon Cases. Storytelling with bite. On the roads of Ukraine, destroyed vehicles are everywhere. Tanks, Bradleys, BMPs, all burnt black, left to rust in the snow. Most soldiers pass them without a thought. But sometimes, not always, foreign volunteers swear they hear something no one else can hear. From the wreck comes voices, faint at first, and then louder. Screams, dozens of them, echoing from the twisted steel as if the dead are still alive, begging to be heard. And it isn't always dozens of soldiers. People swear that they've heard something worse. Children. They call it the Screaming Convoy. Corporal Daniel Velasquez had come to Ukraine in the fall of 2023. Like many foreign volunteers, he arrived first in Poland, where he met two men who would quickly become his brothers in arms. One was another American, Joseph Merrick, a wiry Texan with a sharp sense of humor. The other was a Frenchman whose name neither Velasquez nor Merrick could pronounce, so they called him Jack. The three of them trained, deployed, and they fought together. They threw themselves into learning Ukrainian, not just the commands, but the banter and the slang. And to their surprise, the Ukrainians welcomed them with open arms. For Velasquez, it was the closest thing he had felt to family since leaving home. Then came the night that would etch itself into his memory. After a sharp engagement somewhere east of Kharkiv, the volunteers were tasked with clearing a stretch of road littered with destroyed vehicles. The smell hit them first. Acrid smoke, oil, burned metal. APCs gutted by javelins. Tanks still smoldering from direct hits. BMPs reduced to twisted skeletons. A whole convoy reduced to ruin. The Ukrainians with them moved through them quickly, rifles raised, checking for survivors, scavenging what they could. To them, the burned out wrecks were nothing unusual, just another day. But for Velasquez, something was wrong. As he passed one shattered personnel carrier, he thought he heard voices. First, he chalked it up to stress, to the hiss of fire and the groan of the cooling steel. But the longer he listened, the more certain he became. It wasn't the sound of flames. It was screaming. Dozens of voices, overlapping, echoing inside the hollow hull of the burning PMP. Men crying out, begging for help. Their voices rose and fell in waves, distorted, like they were calling from a great distance. Velasquez froze, staring at the wreck. Then Merrick grabbed his shoulder, eyes wide. "You hear that too?" Velasquez nodded slowly. Then they looked at Jack. The Frenchman's face had gone pale. His lips moved, whispering, "Mon Dieu, they are still burning." When they looked at the Ukrainians, the locals gave them puzzled looks. They heard nothing. The three foreigners stood there, transfixed, as their flames roared and the voices bled through the wreckage. Screams of men long dead carried on the smoke in the wind. And then, just as silently as it has begun, the screaming stopped. Only silence and crackling fire remained. The Ukrainians motioned for them to move forward, impatient to continue. Merrick muttered a curse and tore his gaze away. Jack crossed himself in the classic cross. Velasquez just kept walking, but every step felt heavier than the last. Later that night, huddled around a dim fire, Merrick leaned closer to Velasquez and whispered, "Don't tell them. Don't tell anyone. They'll say we're crazy." Velasquez didn't respond. He just stared into the flames, listening and waiting for the voices to return. He would never forget the screams of the burning convoy. Later that month, a sat phone was making the pass around the camp. Velasquez got his turn and called his brother. This is what he said in his own words.
"Hey, Vinny, it's me." Yeah, I know. Surprised to hear my voice, huh? I figured I owe you a call before you thought I'd forgotten you. You didn't think I'd fly all the way to Poland, catch a ride into Ukraine, and not call you just to give you a hard time? Come on, man. I'm freezing my ass off, but I can still annoy you. Some things don't change. Bro, I can't tell you where I am. You know how it is. OPSEC. Loose lips sink ships, and all that. Just, we're hanging in there, okay? Don't worry too much. We've lost a couple good guys. You wouldn't know their names. It hurts all the same, though. But Merrick's still with me. Jack, too, the Frenchman. They're keeping spirits up, cracking jokes, and honestly, I think without those two, this would feel a lot darker. There's something I wanted to tell you. Something that's been bugging me. I don't know if I should, but if I keep it light, it's fine, right? We came upon a tank that hit a mine. The thing was burning. Just fire everywhere. It should have been done quick. No chance anyone survived. But then, the screaming started. And it kept going. 10 minutes, 20, long enough for us to start looking at each other like, what the hell? Merrick swore it was a man. Jack swore it was a woman. Me? I couldn't tell. I just know it wasn't right. The Ukrainians with us, they thought we were cracking. Said they didn't hear anything but fire and gunfire in the distance. But we heard it. We all did. And Vinny, it wasn't just pain. It wasn't just someone dying. It was something else. Like a soul being dragged out, ripped apart. Something you don't forget. I've seen some bad shit before, you know that. Afghanistan had its share, but this was different. The screams, they weren't human. Not in the way we know it. But hey, enough of that. You know me. I don't like ending on a dark tone. And I don't care if you hate me calling you bro. You'll always be my little brother, so deal with it. Alright, I gotta give up the phone. Other guys need their turn. Don't worry about me, Vinny. We're holding strong. I love you, man. Yeah, I know. I'll stop being sappy. Talk soon.
For weeks, I tried to tread down more accounts. Most of the time, I was met with silence. Soldiers don't like to talk about things that can't be explained. But eventually, one volunteer, a former U.S. Army soldier, agreed to speak with me. At first, she refused, said it was too personal, said people would think that she was broken. 2 weeks later, without warning, she sends me an email. No text, no explanation, just a single audio file attached. This is what she had to say.
All right, I'll tell you what happened. We were moving on task with the Ukrainian team. Just another day, quiet, until it wasn't. A BMP rolled up on us, main gun already firing, rounds slamming into the street, dirt and concrete flying everywhere. I had the javelin. Training kicked in. I sighted, locked, fired. Direct hit. The whole vehicle lit up. Secondary explosions ripped through the hull. The turret blew, shot straight into the air. I knew right then the crew was gone. Nobody survives that. We mopped up the infantry that came with it, quick and brutal the way it gets sometimes. By the time it was over, we were catching our breath, checking ammo, watching the fire eat what was left of the BMP. That's when I heard it. At first, I thought it was the ammo cooking off, but it wasn't. It was a scream, high-pitched, shrill. Not men, not soldiers, a child's. And God help me, it sounded exactly like my daughter back home. Same pitch, same tone. The kind of scream that rips your heart out because you know your kid is in pain. I dropped my rifle and tore off my vest. I was already moving towards the wreck, ready to climb in, burning or not. My squad had to tackle me before I could reach it and held me down. I fought them. I remember screaming, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Can't you hear her? She's screaming in pain. Let me help her." But they didn't hear a damn thing. To them it was just fire. Just the sound of the wreck breaking apart. They looked at me like I was losing my fucking mind. An hour later, when the flames finally died, we opened the hatch. The crew was inside, burned, blackened pieces of men, but no child. Nothing that could explain what I heard. After that, I couldn't keep fighting. I wasn't wounded in a way that you can see, but I was finished. Because if I stayed and I heard that voice again, I don't think I'd make it out alive. I know what I heard. It was real to me. And I'll have to carry it with me for the rest of my life.
If it had only been Velasquez and his comrades, Merrick and Jack, we could dismiss it as just a ghost story, a trick of the fire, the stress of combat. But then came her story. Different place, different battle. Same screams rising from the burning steel. 2 volunteers, 2 encounters, both hearing when no one else could. That's why the soldiers call it the Screaming Convoy. If tonight's case left you unsaddled, if you found it interesting, creepy, or terrifying, and you'd like to support the show, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the notification bell because YouTube doesn't always let people know when new episodes drop. This has been the Phenomenon Cases, storytelling with bite. And as always, stay spooky.